Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you care about your health after 30, 40, 50, or 60, you've probably upgraded your diet. You swapped soda for juice, red meat for fish, desserts for yogurt, and you started buying anything labeled whole, plant-based, or natural. Smart moves, mostly. But here's the uncomfortable truth. A few of these healthy choices can quietly tilt your long-term cancer risk upward. Not because the foods are evil, but because of how we grow, process, portion, and cook them in the 21st century. Today, we'll unpack 5 foods with a powerful health halo and explain the specific mechanisms that connect them to cancer risk. Then, we'll give you safer substitutes and simple rules you can start using today. This video is educational only and not medical advice. Nutrition is personal. If you have a medical condition or a history of cancer, work with your clinician to tailor these ideas to your situation. 1. Soy products, when concentration backfires. Soy's reputation is complicated. Traditional soy foods, edamame, tofu, tempeh, miso, arrive bundled with fiber, minerals, and a moderate dose of isoflavones, the plant compounds that can mimic estrogen in the body. Those isoflavones, genistein, digoxin, can bind to estrogen receptors, ER-alpha and ER-beta, and influence cell signaling. In moderate amounts from food, the effect may be neutral or even protective in some contexts. But modern eating patterns often replace meals with concentrated soy, protein isolates in shakes and bars, textured vegetable protein in mock meats, and proprietary blends added to cereals and snacks. These isolates compress what used to be an occasional food into a daily, high-dose habit. Why could that be a problem? 2 reasons. First, dose matters. Higher isoflavone exposure can stimulate growth in hormone-sensitive tissues for some people. Second, context matters. If your overall diet and genetics already push insulin and IGF-1 higher, layering concentrated phytoestrogens may not be wise. Some lab studies show genistein can inhibit tumor cells at low doses, but promote growth at different concentrations, illustrating that more is not always better. There's also the agricultural layer. Commodity soy is frequently treated with herbicides. Residues may persist through processing. While regulatory limits exist, cumulative exposures from many products add up, especially when a person relies on several soy-based foods every single day. Label literacy helps. Phrases like soy protein isolate, textured vegetable protein, TVP, or defatted soy flour mean you're looking at a concentrated product. An occasional bar or shake is fine. Turning them into breakfast, snack, and post-workout routine is not. If you enjoy soy, make it a side character, not the star. Tofu in a veggie stir-fry, a bowl of edamame with dinner, or tempeh once or twice a week. Balance with lentils, chickpeas, eggs, quinoa, and nuts, so no single estrogen-like input dominates day after day. Practical swap. Trade 1 daily soy shake for a berry chia smoothie made with kefir or unsweetened almond milk, plus a scoop of pea or whey protein if you need it. Small changes move your average exposure in the right direction. Myth versus reality. Soy prevents cancer. The reality is nuanced. Traditional intakes within mixed diets appear safe, and some populations with habitual whole soy intake have lower cancer rates, likely thanks to overall dietary patterns. But that does not validate high-dose isolates layered on a Western diet. Context changes outcomes. Who should be cautious? People with a personal history of hormone-sensitive cancers, those taking endocrine therapies, and anyone relying on multiple soy-fortified products daily. Work with an oncology dietitian if this is you. Fermentation advantage. Tempeh, miso, and natto partially predigest isoflavones and add microbes that may support a healthier gut environment. Fermented soy tends to come with salt, so portion it wisely and balance sodium elsewhere in the day. Label checklist for soy foods. Look for soy protein isolate, TVP, textured soy, or defatted soy flour. Prefer short ingredient lists and whole food forms. If the nutrition panel lists added sugars, keep it low. Sweetened soy yogurts can double up risk factors. Red flags and safer swaps. Soy. You're using a soy shake daily and eating soy bars. Cut back to 1 to 2 servings per week. Ingredients list starts with soy protein isolate or TVP. Prefer tofu or tempeh instead. You notice breast tenderness or cycle changes after starting heavy soy? Talk to your clinician. Swap idea, lentil chili. chickpea stir-fry, or eggs with veggies on days you'd reach for soy snacks. 2. Farmed fish, omega-3s with a side of pollutants. Fish is still a valuable protein, but source matters. In open water, wild fish eat varied diets and swim constantly. In farms, fish live in crowded pens and eat manufactured feed. That feed can concentrate industrial contaminants like polychlorinated biphenyls or PCBs and dioxins, both classified as human carcinogens that accumulate in fat tissue. Comparative analyses have repeatedly found higher PCB levels in farmed salmon than in wild-caught salmon, and the difference can be large enough to matter over years. Why does this connect to cancer? These lipophilic pollutants persist in the body, interacting with hormone pathways and gene expression. Chronic exposure is associated with increased risks for several cancers and with metabolic problems that indirectly raise cancer risk. Add to this the routine use of antibiotics in some aquaculture operations, and you have a recipe for microbiome disturbance and resistant bacteria. What you can do: prefer wild salmon, sardines, mackerel, and herring when available. They bring omega-3s with typically lower contaminant loads. If you buy salmon and the label says Atlantic, assume farmed unless stated otherwise. Trim the skin and excess belly fat where pollutants concentrate. Vary your proteins. Mix in beans, tofu, or tempeh in modest amounts, pastured eggs, or lean poultry, so you're not leaning on farmed fish 5 nights a week. Supplements? Quality varies. If you take fish oil, choose brands that publish third-party contaminant testing. Algae-based omega-3s are another option. Buying guide for safer fish. Wild Alaskan or Pacific wild-caught often signals lower contaminants. Atlantic salmon is typically farmed. Smaller, short-lived fish, sardines, anchovies, and herring bioaccumulate fewer pollutants than large predators. Country of origin labels matter. Some regions regulate aquaculture more tightly than others. If sustainability tags are present, choose operations with third-party audits and feed transparency. Kitchen habits that help. Bake fish on a rack so fat drips off. Discard pan juices if you're aiming to minimize fat-borne pollutants. And pair fish with brassica vegetables, broccoli, kale, that support detox pathways. Frequency tip: aim for 2 seafood meals per week, favoring wild options. Fill the rest of the week with legumes, eggs, and poultry. Red flags and safer swaps for fish. Salmon label says Atlantic with no wild claim, assume farmed. Very oily, intensely colored fillet at a bargain price, likely farmed with dye. You eat farmed salmon 4 to 5 times a week. Rotate in wild sardines, mackerel, eggs, and legumes. Swap idea? Wild canned salmon patties. Sardines on whole grain crackers with lemon. Bean herb salads. 3. Fruit juices and sugary smoothies. Sweet, fast, and risky. A whole orange has fiber that slows absorption. A glass of orange juice delivers the sugar of several oranges in minutes. That speed matters. Rapid spikes in glucose and insulin push the body toward fat storage and promote higher IGF-1 signaling, conditions associated with elevated risks for breast, colorectal, and pancreatic cancers. Large prospective cohorts have linked greater intake of sugary beverages, including 100% fruit juice, to higher cancer incidence. The packaging might say natural, but the bloodstream reads liquid sugar. Smoothies can be tricky. At home, they can be great. At cafes, they can be stealth milkshakes. Common pitfalls: using fruit juice as the base, adding multiple bananas and mangoes, and skipping protein or fiber. If your blender habit routinely packs the sugar of 4 or 5 fruits, you've turned fruit's benefits into a glucose flood. Build them better. Start with water or unsweetened milk. Add a handful of spinach or kale, 1 piece of fruit, a tablespoon of chia or ground flax, and a protein source like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or a clean protein powder. That combination creates slow fuel, not a sugar rush. For daily hydration, choose water, mineral water, tea, or coffee. Save juice for the occasional treat and use a small glass. Satiety science. Liquid calories register poorly in the brain's appetite centers. You'll drink 200 calories of juice quickly and still feel ready to eat. Whole fruit, by contrast, takes time to chew and stretches the stomach, signals that tell the brain you've had enough. Over months, the difference in fullness changes weight, and weight change shifts cancer risk. Dental angle.
Frequent sips of acidic, sugary juices erode enamel. Oral health is tied to systemic inflammation, another cancer-related pathway. Kids strategy. Make a house rule. Water and milk daily, juice on weekends in a small glass. Kids mirror adult habits, so model what you want to see. Smoothie templates. Anti-sugar green. Water, spinach, cucumber, half a green apple, chia, lemon, ginger. Creamy berry. Unsweetened kefir, frozen berries, ground flax, cinnamon, optional protein scoop. Cocoa nut, unsweetened almond milk, cocoa powder, frozen cherries, peanut butter, psyllium husk. Red flags and safer swaps for juice smoothies. Juice is a daily drink rather than a rare treat. Replace with water or tea most days. Smoothies use fruit juice as a base. Switch to water or milk plus greens and seeds. You feel hungry soon after large smoothies. Add protein and fiber. Reduce total fruit. Swap idea. Sparkling water with citrus. Iced green tea. Whole fruit with nuts.
4. Grilled and charred foods. Flavor with a cost. Sizzle and smoke taste amazing because high heat transforms amino acids and sugars into hundreds of new flavor molecules. Unfortunately, the same reaction can also create problematic compounds. On meats and fish, the Maillard reaction and direct flame contact produce heterocyclic amines, or HCAs. Dripping fat generates smoke rich in polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, that coat the surface. Both classes have shown DNA-damaging, carcinogenic activity in animal models, and human studies associate frequent consumption of well-done or charred meats with higher risks of colorectal and pancreatic cancers. Plants aren't immune. Overbrowning starchy foods can increase acrylamide formation. Charred bread, very dark roasted potatoes, and blackened veggie burgers look rustic but add unnecessary exposure. Grill smarter without losing joy. Marinate meats in mixtures that include rosemary, thyme, garlic, citrus, vinegar, soy or tamari, and olive oil. These antioxidants can slash HCA formation dramatically. Use indirect heat to cook through, then finish with a brief sear for marks instead of black crust. Flip often, avoid flare-ups, keep a clean grate so burned residue doesn't transfer. Rotate methods through the week. Roast at moderate temps, steam, poach, or pan-sear gently. Your palate still wins and your DNA gets a break. Numbers you can use. Antioxidant-rich marinades can reduce HCA formation by 50 to 90% in experiments. Flipping meat every minute cuts charring. Keeping surface temps below 300 degrees Celsius or 570 degrees Fahrenheit dramatically lowers HCA and PAH production. Use a thermometer and pull proteins when done instead of just-in-case burning. Prep hacks. Par-cook thicker meats in the oven, then finish briefly on the grill. Choose kebabs with smaller pieces for faster, gentler cooking. Keep a spray bottle to tame flare-ups. For plants, go for tender crisp with color, not black, and rotate in roasting to deepen flavor without smoke. Red flags and safer swaps for grill. Black stripes or crust are routine. Lower heat and shorten finishing time. Flare-ups every cook. Trim visible fat, use drip pan, keep spray bottle handy. Charred toast and very dark roasted potatoes, aim for golden, not black. Swap idea. Oven roasted proteins with herb rubs. Pan-seared fish finished in the oven. Grilled veggies pulled at tender crisp.
5. Dairy overload, when bone food tips the balance. Dairy delivers calcium, protein, potassium, and, if fermented, beneficial microbes. The cancer signal shows up when intake becomes heavy and daily, especially from milk and cheese. Very high calcium intakes can suppress activation of vitamin D, a hormone that helps regulate cell growth and differentiation. Consistently elevated IGF-1 with high dairy intake has been associated in multiple studies with increased risks of prostate cancer and, in some analyses, ovarian cancer. Add sugar to yogurt and you amplify metabolic stress that also tracks with cancer risk. You don't have to quit dairy, you have to right-size it. Aim for 1 to 2 servings per day. Favor plain Greek yogurt, natural kefir, or small portions of aged cheese. Balance calcium with magnesium and vitamin K2 from leafy greens and fermented foods. Both support healthy calcium placement in bone rather than soft tissue. Rotate in plant sources. almonds, sesame, tahini, kale, broccoli, beans, tofu set with calcium, and fortified plant milks. Supplements deserve caution. Unless a clinician prescribes them for a deficiency or bone disease, avoid high-dose calcium pills that spike blood levels. Food delivers calcium more slowly and safely. Choosing better dairy. Pick plain yogurt and sweeten it yourself with berries or a teaspoon of honey. Most flavored cups pack 3 to 5 teaspoons of added sugar. Favor fermented options over large daily glasses of milk. Keep cheese portions to the size of 2 fingers. It's energy-dense and easy to overdo. If using plant milks, check for added sugars and calcium levels. 300 milligrams per cup is typical for fortified drinks. About A1 versus A2 and raw milk. Claims abound, evidence is mixed. If you tolerate dairy, the biggest levers for risk are amount, sugar, and overall diet quality, not boutique milk types.
Weekly template, 7 servings total, e.g., 4 cups plain yogurt or kefir across the week, 2 small cheese portions, and 1 latte. Fill the rest of your calcium needs with greens, beans, nuts, seeds, and fortified alternatives. Red flags and safer swamps. Dairy. 2 or more large glasses of milk daily. Trade 1 for water or unsweetened plant milk. Flavored yogurt is a dessert in disguise. Buy plain and add berries. Cheese on everything. Cap to small portions and skip a few days per week. Swap idea. Tahini lemon dressing for salads. Almond sesame parmesan sprinkle. Tofu set with calcium in stir fries. Putting it all together. The pattern behind these risks is clear: processing, portion, and preparation. When we isolate compounds, supersize portions, or scorch foods to chase flavor, we change biology in ways that can raise cancer risk. The solution isn't deprivation, it's intelligent defaults. Eat mostly whole, minimally processed foods with intact fiber. Mix protein sources so no single item, soy isolates, farmed fish, or cheese, dominates. Use gentle heat most days, save flame-forward cooking for special meals, and skip the char. Treat liquid sugar like dessert. Sip water, tea, and coffee the rest of the time. Read labels, ignore halos. Ingredients and grams tell the truth. Try this 7-day reset. Swap 1 juice for water plus whole fruit. Choose wild fish once. Pick plain yogurt with berries instead of flavored. Grill with a marinade and no char. And replace 1 soy bar with a bean and veg lunch. Notice how you feel. Steadier energy, better digestion, fewer cravings. Those are the same conditions your cells prefer for long-term health. 1-day sample menu, Cancer Smart. Breakfast, plain Greek yogurt with berries, chia, and cinnamon, coffee or tea. Lunch, wild salmon or bean and veg bowl with olive oil lemon dressing, sparkling water with citrus. Snack, apple and a handful of almonds, herbal tea. Dinner, herb marinated chicken or tofu baked at moderate heat with broccoli and quinoa, side salad. Dessert, a square of 85% dark chocolate or sliced fruit. 7-day reset plan. Day 1, replace any juice with water plus whole fruit. Read labels on your yogurts and breads. Day 2, swap a soy bar, shake for a lentil or egg-based meal. Note fullness and energy. Day 3, cook seafood. Choose wild if possible. Bake on a rack and serve with broccoli and lemon. Day 4, grill day done right. Marinade, indirect heat, no char. Flip often, pull when done. Day 5, smoothie reboot. Greens plus 1 fruit plus seeds plus protein. No juice base. Day 6, dairy audit. Cap portions at 1 to 2. Choose plain fermented. Add leafy greens. Day 7, reflection. Which swaps felt easy? Lock those in for the next month. What to monitor over the next month? Energy steadiness from morning to afternoon, less crashing after meals. Waist measurement and scale trends, liquid sugar swaps often move these. Digestion and skin, common early wins with lower sugar and gentle cooking. Grocery receipts, whole food swaps often save money. Glossary, quick and clear. PCBs, PAHs, and HCAs. Pollutant or cooking-derived compounds linked to cancer risk. IGF-1 is a growth factor. Chronically elevated levels are associated with higher cancer risk. Acrylamide, a compound that can form when starchy foods are browned very dark. Isoflavones, soy compounds that weakly mimic estrogen. Dose and context matter. Lightning Q&A. Are plant milks safer than dairy? They can be, but watch for added sugars and low protein.
Fortified unsweetened varieties are best. Is air frying safer than grilling? Usually yes. It uses lower temps and less smoke. Still avoid overbrowning. What about canned fish? Wild canned salmon and sardines are convenient, protein-rich, and typically low in contaminants. Good staples. Do I need to measure IGF-1 or hormones? For most people, diet pattern matters more than single numbers. If you're in cancer treatment, follow your care team's guidance. Is organic always necessary? Prioritize source and cooking method first. When budget allows, choose organic for high pesticide items and soy. Resources. Check National Dietary Guidelines, Cancer Society Nutrition, and oncology-trained dietitians. Favor evidence summaries, avoid miracle claims. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.